MMA has had its fair share of wild personalities, fighters who made headlines not just for their skills in the cage, but for their actions outside of it. Some crossed the line so badly that they ended up behind bars. From violent assaults to massive heists, these fighters threw away their careers in the worst way possible. Here are 5 MMA fighters who ended up in prison. Number 1. Alexander Emelianenko. Alexander Emelianenko, the younger brother of heavyweight legend Fedor Emelianenko, was once a feared competitor in Pride and M1 Global. But outside of fighting, his reputation took a dark turn. In 2015, Emelianenko was convicted of sexual assault and sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. He was released early in 2016, but didn't stay out of trouble for long. Over the years, he has been involved in multiple legal issues, including disorderly conduct and DUI charges. Despite his criminal record, Emelianenko has tried to make comebacks in MMA, but his legal troubles have often overshadowed his fighting career. Unlike his brother Fedor, who remains respected in the sport, Alexander's legacy is tainted by controversy. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about Joe Sun. Number 2. Joe Sun. If there's a name that sends chills down the spines of MMA fans, it's Joe Sun. Most people remember him for his infamous UFC 4 fight, where he took repeated groin shots that somehow didn't stop him. But what happened years later was far more disturbing. In 2008, Joe Sun was arrested for his involvement in a brutal kidnapping and sexual assault case dating back to 1990. DNA evidence linked him to the crime, and in 2011, he was sentenced to life in prison. While serving time, he committed another horrific act, murdering his cellmate. Joe Sun isn't just an MMA fighter who went to prison. He's one of the most hated figures in the sport's history. His case proves that sometimes the real fight isn't in the cage, it's in the courtroom. Number 3. Lee Murray. Lee Murray wasn't just an MMA fighter. He was also the mastermind behind one of the biggest heists in history. Known for his street fighting skills and a brief stint in the UFC, Murray's true infamy came from the 2006 Securitas Depot robbery in England. Along with his crew, Murray pulled off a daring operation, stealing around £53 million. But his run didn't last long. He fled to Morocco, thinking he was safe since the country wouldn't extradite its citizens. However, authorities caught up with him, and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The craziest part? Murray was already involved in criminal activity before his MMA career even took off. He was notorious for street fights, including the one where he allegedly knocked out UFC legend Tito Ortiz outside a nightclub. From the octagon to orchestrating one of the most insane robberies ever, Lee Murray's story is straight out of a Hollywood movie. Number 4. War Machine. John Koppenhaver, better known as War Machine, had all the talent in the world, but was derailed by his own violent tendencies. He competed in the UFC and Bellator, known for his aggressive style and raw power. But his real fights happened outside the cage. In 2014, War Machine was arrested for brutally assaulting his ex-girlfriend, adult film actress Christy Mack, and her new partner. The attack was so severe that Mack suffered broken bones, missing teeth, and life-threatening injuries. The trial was just as shocking. War Machine showed no remorse, and in 2017, he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole until 36 years have been served. It's one of the darkest cases in MMA history. A fighter who once had a promising career let his violent tendencies destroy everything. Number 5. Philip Keller. Philip Keller may not be a household name, but his crimes are just as disturbing as anyone on this list. Philip Keller, a professional mixed martial artist with a record of 2-6, competed in organizations like Titan FC. However, his career took a dark turn with a heinous crime that shocked the MMA community. Keller fatally shot his fiancée, Alicia "Red" Campitelli, a well-known piercing artist from Merritt Island, Florida. The tragedy occurred during an argument over Keller's drug use. After the incident, Keller initially reported a robbery, but later confessed to the murder. In February 2025, Keller pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 50 years in prison. He will be eligible for parole after serving 25 years. This case serves as a grim reminder of how personal demons can lead to devastating consequences, overshadowing any professional achievements. There's no redemption arc here, just a career and life rightfully thrown away. Some of these fighters had all the potential in the world, but instead of building a legacy inside the cage, they became infamous for their crimes. Let this be a lesson. Talent can take you to the top, but the choices you make determine whether you stay there or fall. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insane sports stories.